U of Dumb, as I like to call them, Michigan's favorite son exits stage left. Now, I want to handle this, Chris, with kid gloves at first. We don't know everything. There's been reports that Mike Hart has dealt with some personal things. Um, we knew he collapsed on the sideline at one
He had some
time,
health issues last year. Yeah.
and obviously, I don't wish that on anybody, even those who wear their terrible colors. And if it truly is health issues for why he's stepping down, then I do wish him nothing but the best. So I want to say that first. But I can't help but speculate a little bit here, Chris.
Just a little.
There there's it's unclear if he was even offered a contract extension,
Right.
meaning his contract ran out and they never even negotiated anything from what we're hearing. Like they
Well,
just let it run
is
out.
this an issue with him and Sharon Moore? Is this an issue of Mike Hart feeling a little bit, as Brian Oberst put it earlier, salty about the fact that he was not offered that head coaching job? Uh, is he, like some of the other listeners mentioned, just tucking his tail and running because he knows the hammer's about to come down? I think those are all very, very valid points. I mean, and Nick, you're right. This is a sinking ship, and he's just another rat that's deserting. You
He didn't even get offered the opportunity to go to LA with
No,
Harbaugh.
no,
Why?
which makes you wonder what's going on there. Because Lord knows Harbaugh had no problem cleaning out that coaching room. I think the best thing for us in this situation would be if Mike Hart was the next canary singing in the NCAA's ear.
Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember when Sean was on a couple years ago? I want to say it was right before they beat us the first time, so the year after COVID. And he said Mike Hart was the next head coach at Ohio State. You remember, or at U of Dumb? Remember that?
Yep.
What happened?
Well, clearly there's been a falling out between him and the university, and who knows? Maybe he posed some objections to what was going on up there. You know, maybe that could be what drove the stake between them. But there is definitely an issue there because, like you said, well, you call him their favorite son. Well, I think he was their second next to Harbaugh, and probably the first after Harbaugh basically cleaned house and left him for dead. Uh, you know, I'm really, really surprised at the situation. Um, I'm with you. I feel there's something going on that we don't know about, and if it is his health, God bless you, man. I hope you're okay. If it's not his health, I hope it comes to light. And I've got a sneaking suspicion this was not a health related issue.
I agree with you. There's too there's too many question marks around this, right? And I
If it
feel
was
like
health, why wouldn't he just come out and say, it's my health?
exactly,
I've got to go.
exactly, exactly. Um, I don't know, dude. Like I heard someone, I think it was Dave Biddle,
Yeah.
said this would be like Eddie George being our running backs coach and then him not getting retained after you just won a national championship.
And their running game has been phenomenal since he got up there.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
he's the running game coordinator.
I mean, yes, I know that Harbaugh is known for loving to run the ball, but the running game was, I think, average before Mike Hart got back up there.
Their running game improved every single year with his under his
Yeah,
tutelage. It really did. Now
it
I
did.
understand a lot of that has to do with the fact that they had a tremendous offensive line. And
Well,
Sharon
sure it
Moore
does.
and Sharon Moore had a lot to do with that, as I think he was the O-line coach and
Mhm.
offensive coordinator there. Um, it's just interesting that, for someone like Jim Harbaugh who says I'm leaning on my staff, talking about, this past year when he's not there, the staff is coaching, and he was just talking about how much he trusts his staff, that all of a sudden no one trusts Mike Hart.
Yeah.
What? The
There's
guy who's your running back coordinator, your running game coordinator, who is a star football player for your program, the second favorite son, as you called him, Chris, and all of a sudden he's not there anymore, and
now
he's not in LA.
are you
Come
ready to
on.
put on your foil hat?
Tinfoil hat coming on. Here we go.
We've heard reports that a lot of the information that was coming out from somebody within the university.
Uh huh. And that someone might have had a heart,
Maybe, like I
or,
said,
or at least a
m-
conscience.
yeah, maybe, you know, under it all, even though he did play for the scum, maybe he put a little more value on the game than the people that cheated it.
Mm hmm. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Now, I'm not saying that Mike Hart's the one who's reporting everything to the NCAA and what was
No, but it wouldn't
happening in their
surprise me if he
program,
might have leaked something.
but it
There's some
sure
reason that he's
does
cut off.
feel like this has got some weirdness to it, some eeriness about it.
Yeah,
And my tin hat Ohio State tin hat wearing heart says Mike Hart might have been the one who was singing. I think this is incredibly interesting. We someone said this could be a 30 for 30. Wouldn't that be interesting that the NCAA was notified of the cheating scandal, not from Ryan Day's brother-in-law and the FBI, but from the running back who you all loved, the coach who said, "This ain't right. This is not right." Imagine the waves that would go through that fan base, the emotion that they would have to deal with, and someone who they love, who a lot of them have autographs of hanging on their wall, wearing his jersey with his name on their back, and he was the one who turned them in, and they get hammered by the
you,
NCAA.
you know what you'd see? Remember when LeBron left Cleveland to go to Miami
Uh huh.
and everybody was out in the streets burning his jersey? You would see that. But let me tell you something. In all honesty, if that is the case, I'm still not going to like the guy because he played for them. But I will have to give him a little bit of respect if he placed the game above uh, his program.
Mm-hmm. And Jay Thompson says the same thing. If he was the one who blew the whistle, then I have a newfound respect for him. Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
Mark Swick, a tsunami's coming. Yeah, there's if you guys watch Buckeye Scoop at all, they've been right on a lot of things. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, they're not right about anything." They've been right about a lot, actually. They've been right about a lot. And they are the ones who one of the ones I've watched who are pushing that the NCAA is going to come down on that program up there. That and then not just the football program, but the athletic department in
athletic
general.
department. Yeah, and
And
go ahead.
go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say, and they should. This is deep, man. I mean, this is a very deep issue in that department because you're not just talking about the football program, which has a plethora of violations to play with by itself. But I mean, we had issues with hockey, the hockey team. We had
Baseball
issues,
cheating.
obviously, with basketball. Now, Jeremy, I can't see them issuing the actual death penalty to Michigan in this case.
However,
However, they can issue penalties that would basically effectively do the same thing. If you slap them with a long enough bowl ban, if you slap them with enough restrictions on scholarships, um, you can effectively institute a death penalty for a program like that without instituting a death penalty. You can set them back so many years that it will be decades before they are back to prominence again.
um, Jay says, Michigan, come on, buddy. is too blue blood to get a death penalty. I disagree with that. And let me tell you why. And by the way, death penalty is a relative term now. And let me explain why. If if they come out and they say bowl ban for 3 years or more and they have 10 or less scholarships, given the environment of college football today, and they open the portal for those players, the majority of them are going to exit stage left because they're not going to want to stay and not have and not get to play in a postseason.
And we're hearing it's going to be at least a 5-year bowl ban, right?
That's
So
what
I
that's
mean,
what I'm hearing, but I just let's just say it's 3 or more. Okay, that's basically if you're not a freshman, and even if you are a freshman and you have expectations of, hey, I'm going to go to the NFL in 3 years. Why are you going to stay there? Like,
well, yeah, and that's my thought. If they come out with something after the portal closes this year, I could see players like uh, Edwards throwing themselves into the NFL supplemental draft.
yeah, he could because he's been there for 3 years.
Yeah,
Jay says they are too large of a brand to get the SMU death penalty. I understand that, but hear me out, man. Like, what is a death penalty in
right.
today's game where the NCAA has very little power? This would be the death penalty in today's NCAA football.
Yeah, you give them a
Because
5-year bowl ban. You like you said, take 10 scholarships. You have crippled that team.
they
You really have.
I think Adam Dowling's right. They will look more like USC than
SMU.
SMU,
Yes, I agree.
but they're coming off a national championship. Again, I don't think their fan base
Or
realizes.
go back
Name
to
me the
Miami. You know?
last national championship team that looks like this team and roster in the offseason. I can't think of one.
Yeah, this is a national championship team that Eric. Let's be honest. I don't know that with what they've got left on the roster that they go over 8 wins this year.
I know this much. All the smart money guys are telling you hammer the under on them.
Yeah, because they're what 9.5.
They were at, I think they were at 10 and a half or something crazy. They
Well,
might
if
be
it's
nine.
10.5, you definitely hammer it.
If it's 9.5 now, I mean, you're still gonna. I would still hammer the under. So yeah.
And that's a good point Chris Smith has over in the chat too, Eric. With bowl
This one.
bans, yep, with the bowl bans and the loss of scholarships, you're going to see that NIL money start drying up a little bit.
Yeah. Without NIL, that is a death penalty. Like you are essentially what Northwestern now, and 6 wins and going to a bowl game is a great year. So
Yeah,
I don't know, guys. Like I know that this is just a rumor. But and I have again, and I know what's going to happen. If we cut this up and we make this a video, we're going to have people say we don't know what we're talking about and where's your sources. This is just again,
speculation.
this is speculation, me wearing a tinfoil hat. Somebody in that program saying, somebody talked to the NCAA. We don't know who it is yet. But if it's Mike Hart, this makes sense to me.
We know it wasn't Ward Manuel. If he if
Right?
he would have started singing back when all this started happening, they wouldn't be in the situation they're in now.
Mm-hmm.